There's Sam Medina again with another penciling tutorial. Today we are working once again on Glad and Darkfell for Darkfell Return to Moonshadow. It is a story of how Katarina the Dragon Slayer returns to her old home of Moonshadow to find that it has become a garrison of the Harkat Empire, and she decides she wants to set it free. And this is the guy who's going to help her. Now today we're going to focus in this video on hands. Now usually what I do, my figures start off as stick figures, and I usually start a fist like this as an oval or kind of an egg shape. One of the things you have to remember about hands is that there's kind of a curvature where that middle knuckle sticks out more than the other, so there's a bit of a curve. You have to remember that when you're building your hand. I'll do something like this. Normally I wouldn't do that at this stage because I already have it down, but do that for the video. And you can just indicate the knuckles. You don't really have to do a whole lot. Some people do more. That's entirely up to you. Mistake a lot of people make, whether a character's holding a gun or a sword or some kind of object, is, and a lot of professional artists still do this, they draw a fist and then they just kind of draw the object around that fist, and that doesn't really work because the object takes up space in the hand, so it's not going to look like a tightly clenched fist. There's a difference between this and this, so you got to keep that in mind. And you can create that illusion by bringing the fingers out. I usually do it with just kind of rectangular lines, which I then give a little more roundedness. In this case, not a whole lot because the character's wearing gloves. In this case, they're kind of leather tough guy gloves, so they're not, gonna really follow every single curve of his hands. And just sketch in the pommel of his sword here. And so now we have the basic outline in, and we have to remember our light source is coming from up there, and so we may fill in some shadow, which for now, just to indicate the shadow, we can just lightly throw it down with, probably can barely see it on video, so we make those a little darker. Just a few lines here and there to create the illusion of shadow. And later on, you can, what I normally do in the inking stage, sometimes I don't even use hatching. I'll do something like this when I'm inking, and just use a line to indicate a boundary. When you want to make your three-dimensional object, you got to remember SEV, shape, edge, and value. In this case, because we're working in black and white ink, value doesn't always come into play, but you can create that illusion with just that line there. Let's see if we can zoom in on that. So even when all these little hatching lines disappear, it'll give us an illusion that there's some kind of boundary between this, and kind of trick the eye into believing that there's a shadow there, even though we didn't actually draw a shadow. Indicate a thumb there. And this lower hand, not all the fingers are showing, so the hands are kind of overlapping one another. Indicate our knuckles here. And then these are probably going to be very deeply shadowed, so we probably will hatch them in the inking. Let's see if we can get these on camera here. Not even on camera. There we go. And so we've kind of given. Sometimes I use the hatching as kind of note taking as far as what I need to do when I'm inking. Because the job of penciling isn't just to get the drawing on paper, but especially if you're working with an inker. I mean, I ink my own drawings, but even when you're inking you're penciling for yourself and you're going to ink it yourself, it's sometimes helpful to use your pencils as instructions for what you're going to do when you're inking. Because sometimes you can't express everything you're going to do with the pencil. I mean, you can, but it takes a lot longer, at least to some extent. And I've seen people do these beautiful renderings in pencil, and it's almost like a shame to ink it. And here's that back arm, which is greatly foreshortened, so we only see the edge of his bicep. And to kind of give this hand a little more three-dimensionality, we do want to give it a stronger line here, since it's kind of away from the light source. Let me do that over here too. You can do it with repeated strokes, or even let your pencil get a little dull as you're working, and then you use that to do your heavy lines. And there we go, we got a pretty nice looking set of fists there that are grasping this sword. And let's zoom out, show you a little more of what we got going on here. If this has been helpful, definitely give us a like us, love us, share us, give us the thumbs up, and check us out over at JakeTheEvilHair.com and Darkfell.com.